Hi, thank you for joining me here on Taya's Sweet Aroma. Today I am going to be sharing with you the recipe for my homemade sofrito. This sofrito recipe is very similar to my recipe for my red pepper sauce because it is a recipe for an ingredient. Now, just like with my red pepper sauce, I use it in so many different dishes, and the same thing goes with this sofrito. Now, if you've never worked with sofrito before, it is an ingredient that is used a lot in Latin cuisine. Now, it adds so much flavor. I mean, very little of this stuff goes a long way. And so what I'm doing now is I am separating my garlic cloves. When I'm done with that, I'm gonna bring you in a little closer so we can go over the ingredients. The ingredients you're gonna need for the sofrito is some garlic cloves, lots and lots of garlic cloves. You're gonna need some extra virgin olive oil, yellow onions, some green bell pepper, red bell pepper, Roma tomatoes, as well as some cilantro. Now, what I did before I got started is I turned my oven on to broil. I also moved the oven rack up near the top because what I'm gonna try to do is get some really good color on these veggies. The only one that I needed to break down was the onion. The rest of them, I'm gonna put them onto the sheet pan whole. I'm gonna allow them to get a really nice color on one side, then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna flip them over, try to get them nice and charred all over before I take them out of the oven. So as this process is happening, usually what happens is the onion and the tomatoes are done first and the peppers take just a little bit longer. So I will show you the steps as I'm going along. While my veggies are getting nice and roasted in the oven, what I am doing is I'm getting this garlic ready. There is a lot of garlic, and a little trick that you can do to get your garlic out of the peel a lot faster is you just put it down on your board, hold your knife, whack it really good, and then the garlic will come out nice and easy for you. Something else that I like to do as well is I like to trim that little piece off. Not necessary, but something that I like to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep getting all my garlic nicely peeled. Then I'm gonna take my cilantro and get most of it off the leaves. I like to leave a little, off the stem. I like to leave a little of the stem on, but I'm gonna get these ready as well so that as soon as the veggies are done and I get them peeled, we can get to blending this together. Okay, so what I did is I flipped my tomatoes around a couple of times just to get them nicely toasted. You can see some of the other veggies have started to get roasted on one side, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn those over. Now, as far as my tomatoes go, they are done at this stage. And what you want to do is you want to have a bowl ready with some plastic wrap. It's going to help it to steam. Most of the skin is already starting to peel off for me, but I'll take it off when I get to that step. So I just go ahead and add them into the bowl, as well as the onions. Okay, I'm just spreading these out a little bit, give them a little more space. And with the onion and the tomatoes, I'm gonna go ahead and cover them, allow them to continue to steam. That way I can get that tomato skin off. Gonna do the same thing with these peppers once they're done. But for now, I gotta get them nicely roasted on all four sides. So I'm gonna add them back place them back into the oven. Then as they're getting a nice roasting on one side, I just keep going through, flipping them until they're done all the way through. All the way around, and I will show you the next step when we get there. Now, my other peppers finished up a bit earlier. I went ahead and let this one go a little longer. I'm gonna get some fresh plastic over it. Gonna allow everything to continue to steam for about another 10-15 minutes or so, just until the skin gets nice and soft and it becomes easy to peel. Once that time is up, I will show you the next step. The veggies have been sitting for about 30 minutes. I went ahead and got some other stuff done, but as you can see, everything peels up nicely. The skin just comes right off. You want to take all of this skin off. And I'm doing it over the bowl because this juice that's inside of this pepper, I want it to stay in there. So I go around the edge. It just all breaks apart really easily for you. Get that pepper off. This is trash. Then once I get it nicely peeled, I go ahead and add it into the blender. Okay, I'm now to the last red bell pepper. So again, I want to show you really quickly. You just want to open it up, go around the edges, remove the seeds and the stem. Allow those juices to fall in because those are going to help everything blend up. Then just go right to peeling the skin off. Now this right here, it's an extra level of flavor. I've now been working on the tomatoes. As you can see, the skin just comes right off of them. Then I get a little steak knife and I just go around the stem, remove that out as well, add this to the blender. The onions are going directly in as well as all the juice on the bottom. Now I'm gonna pour all this juice into the blender as well. Okay, now it's all about blending everything together. I'm gonna go ahead and get this nice and smooth before we add in the garlic and the cilantro. At this stage, it looks like a really good salsa. Now I'm just adding in all the other ingredients. Got the cilantro in, all the garlic cloves, and the olive oil. I'm gonna go ahead and blend it some more until everything is nice and smooth. Okay, now you can see everything is nice and smooth. My sofrito has now had a chance to cool. I wanted to let you see the texture again. So this is how I store away my sofrito. I get a 1/4 cup measuring cup and a snack size bag. It does not have to be a freezer bag because it is gonna be put into a freezer bag, which I'll show you here in a second. And I just go through making sure I get all the air out. I'm gonna continue to do this until I get all of the sofrito put into a bag. Now, before I keep going, I wanted just to show you the second part of storing away the sofrito. Now, this is really important. If you do not want your freezer or wherever you're storing the sofrito at to smell like garlic and onion, although it's a good smell, if you don't want it to smell like it, what I'm doing here is I'm taking 2 freezer bags. Now, you have to use 2. I've tried it with 1 and the smell still comes through. That's because this is very strong. So what I do is I get my snack size baggies and I put 1 in this way. Then I take the next one, store it this way. Trying to make sure I keep everything nice and flat as I'm going. That way, when it comes time to thaw 'em, they thaw a lot easier. And then I just go back and forth, one side to the next. Okay, now I have my last one in. My bag fits 6, so I put 3 on one side and 3 on the other, just getting all the air out. Then I fold that first one in. And that is all to it. Just get all the air out. And now when you store it in the freezer, you want to store it in there flat just like this. And the 2 bags will help to keep the smell from getting all over the rest of your things in the freezer. I'm going to go ahead and keep packaging these up. The sofrito will last in your freezer for up to 6 months. Now, something I did want to mention to you was that if you want yours to have a bit more of a texture to it, don't puree it as long as I did. And if you want yours to be a bit more smoother, then do it a little longer. And as far as the flavor goes, I think this is the perfect amount of peppers to onions and garlic, but give it a taste. And if you want more pepper flavor, add more peppers in. Same with the tomatoes, add more tomatoes if you want it to have a bit more of a tomato flavor. But I think you'll find that you don't need to add garlic. And you want to keep that in mind as well. Whenever you're using the sofrito in a dish, you want to kind of use it more, thinking of it more like a garlic paste. So, because if you add too much, it's gonna be very strong, overpowering, and you don't wanna mess up a dish. So a little goes a long way. Keep that in mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting these packaged up. I thank you for spending time with me here today, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.